Poor Dasaratha lay in extreme agony, torn between his love for his son and his sacred duty to keep his pledge. He had fondly hoped that Kaikeyi might yet relent, and that somehow the terrible conflict would resolve itself. But now, at last, he saw with despair that this was not to be. One faint hope remained to him. Rama is not bound by my promise, he thought. Strong in the people's love and in his own peerless prowess, he might disregard my pledge and stand upon his rights. I cannot truly imagine him doing so. My slightest wish has always been sacred to him. Yet if he did, it would save us all. But the hope was a false one, and the old king knew it in his heart. Rama would never disregard his father's given word, for filial obedience was the deepest rule of his life. As death seemed to draw near, Dasaratha felt that it would be a mercy, a release from all the sorrows now rushing upon him. As his end seemed to near, his mind travelled back to a great sin of his youth. I killed the Rishi's son and broke his aged parents' hearts, he thought. How could that sin be washed away, except by the anguish of losing a beloved son of my own? And so he resigned himself to his fate as a just and terrible retribution. He could see no way out but to fulfill his word to his cruel wife. And so he left the ordering of everything entirely to Kaikeyi. Meanwhile, the day dawned bright over Ayodhya, and the appointed hour of the coronation drew near. The whole city unaware of the ruin unfolding within the palace walls. Toward the palace came the grand procession of Vasishtha and his disciples, bearing golden vessels filled with the waters of the holy rivers. The great street was decorated and thronged with eager crowds, who rejoiced to see the sage and his followers marching with the sacred paraphernalia of installation. Honey and curds, clarified butter and fried rice, sacred grass and flowers, maidens and elephants, horses and chariots, the white umbrella, the sacred bull, the horse, and the tiger skin seat, all moved toward the palace to the sound of many instruments, and the people raised loud jubilant shouts that filled the morning air. Coming to the palace gate, Vasishtha caught sight of the charioteer Sumantra and told him, "Go in without delay, and let the king know that the people are gathered and waiting, and that everything is ready for the crowning." And the faithful Sumantra hastened inside to rouse his master to the great work of the day. Sumantra came to the king's bedchamber and, chanting the morning hymn, delivered Vasishtha's message. "Arise, O king," he sang, "as the lord of the gods rises to Matli's waking songs. The elders, the generals, and the chief citizens await your darshan. The night has withdrawn. The day's work awaits your command. Holy Vasishtha waits." The king was speechless with agony and could not answer, but Kaikeyi boldly spoke for him. The king talked all night of Rama's coronation and had no sleep. She told Sumantra, "Now he slumbers. Go at once and bring Rama here." Thus the cunning queen bent, even this moment, to her purpose. For Kaikeyi knew that Dasaratha had agreed, but had not the strength to do the dreadful deed himself. So she resolved to do it in his place. She sent Sumantra to summon Rama, meaning to speak the terrible command with her own lips, and to complete the ruin she had begun. Sumantra went to Rama's palace, where Rama and Sita were making ready for the coronation. He conveyed the message that the king and queen Kaikeyi desired the princess' presence. Suspecting nothing amiss, Rama hastened at once to obey, radiant and eager in his ceremonial calm. The unexpected delays and the strange comings and goings began to rouse quite doubts, but no one dared speak of them aloud. Those concerned hoped that all would somehow turn out right, and went on with their appointed tasks. While the streets grew ever more crowded and impatient for the ceremony to begin. Why this long delay? The people wondered in the streets. Perhaps the preliminary rites are grander than we knew. The waiting crowd swelled bigger and bigger, and their patience thinned, even as within the queen's chamber strange and sinister events moved swiftly toward their cruel conclusion. Sumantra led Rama through the throng to Kaikeyi's palace. Rama stepped over the threshold of the queen's apartment and started back as though he had set his foot upon a snake. For there lay his father on the bare floor, in the grip of some great sorrow, his face like a parijata blossom withered in the sun. Rama touched his father's feet and paid the same loving reverence to Kaikeyi. Dasaratha uttered only the name, Rama, and could speak no more. He could not bring himself to look straight into his beloved son's face and turned his eyes away in unbearable shame and grief. Perplexed and filled with apprehension, Rama gazed at his father, lying speechless in the clutch of some great agony. He could not even begin to guess its cause. Turning to Kaikeyi, he said gently, "Mother, this is strange indeed. However angry, my father has always spoken sweetly to me. Have I somehow offended him? Has some sudden illness laid him low? Has anyone spoken harshly to him? Tell me, mother, what has come to pass? This suspense is more than I can bear." So Rama pleaded, his heart heavy with fear for the father he loved, unable to guess what grief could have brought so mighty a king so low. Bold Kaikeyi seized her chance. The king is angry with no one, and there is nothing wrong with his health, she said. But there is something in his mind that he is afraid to tell you, lest it wound you. That is why he is silent. Once, being pleased with me, he granted me two boons, which I accepted. Now, like an ill-bred man, the king regrets his promise. Kaikeyi went on, "Is that worthy of him? To pledge his word and then regret it? You have the power to help him keep it. Yet he fears even to tell you and thinks of breaking his vow. If you assure him you will help, you will give him the strength to act rightly. The matter is in your hands," she said. "I shall tell you what it is, but only after you promise me that you will help the king fulfill his pledge." Rama, grieved to think he could be the cause of any distress to his father, answered without a moment's hesitation, his heart wholly given to duty, "Mother, am I truly the cause of all this trouble? I do not deserve such doubt from you. If my father bade me leap into fire, I would not hesitate. If he asked me to drink poison, I would drink it. At his word, I would drown myself in the sea. You know this well." "Here, mother," Rama said, "I give you my solemn promise. I shall fulfill whatever the king has promised you, and I never break my word." When these words left his lips, Kaikeyi exulted inwardly, for she knew now that she had conquered. And the king, hearing them, fell into deeper despair, for every path of escape was barred. Then the pitiless Kaikeyi spoke the terrible words, "Rama, your words are worthy of you. What higher duty has a son than to fulfill his father's given word? Hear it then. Long ago, when your father lay wounded in the battle with Sambra, I rescued him and revived him. And in gratitude, he granted me two boons. I have claimed those boons now," she said. "They are these, that Bharat shall be anointed Yuvraj, and that you shall be sent this very day into the Dandaka forest to live in exile for 14 years. You have sworn to keep your father's word. Now prove yourself true to it. Give up the installation, Kaikeyi commanded. Put on matted locks and the bark of a hermit, and go, leaving all these ready preparations to serve for Bharat's crowning instead. As she spoke these cruel words, the king writhed in agony upon the floor. But Rama heard them wholly untroubled. And here, Kaikeyi beheld a wonder. In Rama's face, there was not the slightest sign of disappointment, nor sorrow, nor anger. Where any other man would have raged or wept, the prince remained utterly serene, a calm so deep and so radiant that it was a marvel to behold, and it left the cruel queen amazed. Smiling gently, the prince said, "Is that all, mother? Surely the king's promise must be fulfilled. My hair shall be twisted into matted locks. I shall wear the bark of the forest, and I shall go this very day into exile." So simply, so cheerfully, did Rama accept the loss of a kingdom and 14 years in the wild. In her own way, Kaikeyi spoke a prophecy. For Rama's dutifulness would win him undying glory. Glory that shall endure as long as the Himalaya stands, as long as the Ganga flows, and as long as the ocean waves beat upon the solid earth. In losing a throne, Rama had begun to win the heart of the world forever. "I am not in the least annoyed," Rama said in unperturbed tones. "Would I not gladly give anything to Bharat, even unasked? I would cheerfully give him all I have. How then can I hold back for a moment when my own father commands it? What pains me a little is only that he should have doubted my willingness at all. Why should he hesitate to tell me himself and leave it to you to say?" Rama went on, "Am I not his son, bound to do his bidding? What glory or joy can I seek, except to make his word come true? My only grievance is that he did not send for me straight and give the command with his own lips. I shall go to the forest this very day, and with no regret," said Rama. "Send swift messengers at once to fetch Bharat home." As he spoke, the prince's face glowed like a sacrificial fire that leaps into flame when the ghee is poured. Bright, serene, and utterly at peace with the sacrifice he was making, Kaikeyi rejoiced at her apparent success, blind to the future and its sorrow. She could not foresee the greater grief awaiting her. The scorn of her own son Bharat for greed had deceived her into folly and clouded her understanding. She did not know the noble heart of the very son for whom she sinned, like a captive elephant hemmed in on every side. Dasaratha lay in helpless anguish, and Kaikeyi, with needless harshness, hurried Rama along. "Do not wait for the king to speak and prolong this affair," she said, impatient to see the prince gone and her purpose sealed beyond all undoing. At this, Rama answered mildly, "Mother, it seems you do not truly know me. I prize no pleasure higher than honoring my father's pledge. Let Bharat bear the burden of kingship and care for our aged father. It will give me the greatest joy of all." So gracious was he, even to the one who had wronged him. Dasaratha, silent until now, though listening intently, could bear no more and mourned aloud in his grief. Rama touched the feet of his father and of Kaikeyi once more and hurried out of the chamber. Outside stood Lakshman, who already knew all. And with eyes red with anger, he turned and followed his brother. On his way out, Rama passed the vessels of consecrated water made ready for his own coronation. He walked reverently around them in worship, honoring the sacred things, though the crown they promised was now denied him. With calm majesty, He left behind the white umbrella and all the royal insignia. Then Rama gently advised the waiting crowds to disperse, for there would be no coronation that day. The prince, in whom all desire had been utterly vanquished, turned his steps toward the house of Queen Kausalya to give his mother the news and to take her blessing before departing into the forest. Such was the wonder of that morning. A father crushed by grief, a queen consumed by greed that smothered every noble impulse, and a son who renounced a kingdom with a cheerful and untroubled heart. These are not distant marvels, but the very passions and sorrows that move through our own daily lives. Valmiki and Kamban, seeing with the vision of genius, made these events live again in immortal song. And it is told that wherever the tale of Rama is recounted, the great Hanuman himself joins the gathering, standing reverently apart, listening with folded hands and eyes, brimming with devoted tears. For this is the power of Rama's story, that it stirs the deepest devotion in every heart that hears it, and gives strength to bear the sorrows of life. In Rama's serene acceptance of exile, men have found, age after age, a light to guide them through their own hours of loss and trial. Behind him, Ayodhya was slowly waking to its grief, the festival unraveling into confusion and sorrow. Ahead lay the forest, hard years of hardship, and the long road of his destiny. Yet Rama walked toward it all with a heart at perfect peace, as though loss and gain were one and the same to him. Behold, then the wonder of Rama, that a man could lose a kingdom in a single morning and not lose his peace, that duty could be dearer to him than a crown, and a father's word more precious than his own desire. It is this wonder that has made his name beloved of all the world, from that day to this.